Hello, this is the Tallneck, the $80 US official Lego set that I bought and then built live over on Twitch from Horizon Forbidden West. At least that's what it says on the box. And all indications are that this is really trying to take a scene directly from the previous game, Horizon Zero Dawn, but of course business, so they market it with the branding of the newer game. For me though, which specific game it's based on doesn't matter at all because I've not played any of them. However, for a change, I don't feel like that's going to have much of an effect on my ability to give you a decent review of this set. Because after all, there's plenty of Lego to talk about here, and I have looked at pictures of the thing and verified to my satisfaction that at least it looks quite a bit like what it's supposed to represent. Overall, the proportions are not perfect, but it's pretty darn good. Clearly, the Tallneck itself does not stand alone in this set. There's a whole bunch of detailing down at the base that I think is above and beyond the norm, and specifically this birch tree over here is great. Absolutely great. It's so much better than the birch tree that was included in the modular bookstore building. It looks like a birch tree. It's done right. There's nothing weird about it, even though it's supposed to be a little bit alien. I think there's supposed to be reeds back here, just kind of blowing in the wind. You got detail around the back. This looks, the whole thing, not just the main build, but also the base, looks good from every angle, or at least looks equally good. The build of the base, of course, is the very first thing that you do. I also really like this broken down old traffic light pole over here, which is rusted. It's got a vine growing around it, and you can see all the lights are out. You know, it's just kind of angled down. It's just a nice post-apocalyptic touch. And they also include this little watcher here, and they also have 3 different versions of the 1x1 clear stud, the 3 different colors to represent the different states of being of this, of aggro or just completely neutral, seeking. And this is able to be pulled off as its own little thing. It has a little bit of articulation, not a whole lot. You can move the tail up and down, try to get some expressiveness out of the head, get it down a little bit closer. It's not covering all of the beats of the thing, but you know, there's some personality to it, and I think that for its size, it's done pretty well given the limitations of the Lego system. Really would have been nice to be able to turn the head side to side, but this is okay. The Tallneck is attached to the base very securely. I can pick this up from the body and the base is just gonna go with it, but you can remove it. I'll show you that in a minute. I just wanted to give you a little bit more context of where it sits and how it presents itself relative to the base. It's off at an angle a little bit. The base itself is oblong. It's effectively an oval shape, and you're offset a little bit to one side or to the rear, and in 2 dimensions and angled a little bit. But then the feet are on a flat surface, so it's not on an incline or anything, which makes perfect sense. You know, it should be on the plains or in the field. Attachment of the feet is via these modified tiles or plates with the Technic pin in the center, simply connecting up to one of these in each of the heels. So a modified plate there with the Technic hole, and this is on a ball joint to make sure that you can orient this exactly right. And it lines up pretty well, pretty easily. The Tallneck can stand just fine on its own though. It might wobble a little bit if you've got it on a table that is able to move as you walk by slightly. But there's plenty of strength in the joints of this. There are no joints throughout the legs, but as you already saw, each of the ankles is on a ball joint, so you can rotate that around a little bit and kind of compensate a little bit. It also has a flap on the front that gives you room to articulate it to the front. And then each of the legs is on a ratcheted joint to get the angles that they want out of it. You can also splay this, but I don't recommend that at all ever. Doesn't make sense and also doesn't work particularly well. However, you can kind of put this into a motion pose. Let me see if I can get this in there a little bit, just a little bit. It's better if you do still have it on the base, but there it's on 3 feet, maybe a little bit better like that. Let's see. Honestly, so it's a little bit limited here. I mean, it's actually leaning slightly to one side. No, that's really not great. It's a little bit limited in what you can realistically do, mostly because of the positions of the front shoulders, and also the weight of the whole thing. The saucer section up here, the head, has a lot of weight forward. I'm also on a surface that's fairly low friction, so there's not a whole lot that I can do articulation wise, but let's look a little bit closer at the details though. The color scheme is fairly reserved. Lego did not add a whole lot of color to it the way that they sometimes do to make it a little bit more toyish and to kind of make it fit into their normal aesthetic. It feels like they went more in the direction of the source material. So you get the white, you get the grays, of course, and black, and then tan and sand blue are the main colors that stick out. You're going to see some gold as well, again, around different angles, different sides. The level of detail is fairly consistent. A little bit of yellow right there. I don't know if that's a little bit off, if that should be more of the gold or more of the tan color. I didn't look specifically at that in the source material to see if that was accurate, but you're not seeing a lot of the colors that comprise the inner build here. I love the layering and tiering of the essentially neck plates. I also really like the little bit of inner pivot surround, I guess, for the shoulder there, for the front shoulder. Just, I don't know, it's just rather elegant the way that it ends. Maybe I'm just a little bit simple and a little bit easy to please. This does have some stickers, so you'll see stickers along the back there. There's another one just at the top of the rump area. These can be angled in different ways. We've got the snowboard used there in just a regular plain gray, super useful color for that. Another sticker right there. And then going up to the neck along the back, you have these blade elements in the gold. So the gold, I don't know, maybe stands out a little bit, but I think the color to me doesn't stand out too much. I think that it's close enough, and I think it fits well enough. Up around the head, on the back, these are able to articulate however you want because they are on ball joints as well. They can also turn side to side. And then there are a number of stickers going around the circumference of the head. So that's where most of the stickering goes on, all around here. There's also one on top a couple on top that we'll see in just a second when I move up there. But this is very, very round the way that it's done. And you can also angle this back if for some reason you want it to look up. Isn't the ideal look. It's not able to be angled down though, and you're also not able to angle the entire neck forward is what would be a pivot point here. It's only a connection. There's no room to move it. So no matter what, it always tends to look like it's leaning back a bit. Top of the head looks great to me. I love the color blocking. I like the concentric but not entirely symmetrical circles in there. This is a little bit wider than it is long, the gray portion there. There's one sticker back here. The black one's no problem. The white is a little bit off just because the color of the backing of the sticker is more of a pure white. They also put some reflective material in there these days as well, which I hope will make it more opaque and also more consistent over time. But I love the orange that's in there. This was a complex build to put this all together because it has a lot of studs on the side construction, well, studs on all sides construction, including using some headlight bricks to bury these ingots in there a little bit. You can see ingots just subtly right there a little bit to get a little bit of extra texture. This just looks really good to me. Simple as it is, as small as it is, it's very satisfying to me. I feel like it's all very cohesive how it comes together. I think it's also important to look at this from the underside since it is so tall, and in universe, your player character is going to be looking up at it by default. And they didn't disappoint here. You are seeing the undersides of 3 bricks right there. Adds a little bit of texture. You got the undersides of the headlight bricks I mentioned just a moment ago there. But all in all, this is looking pretty nice, and it does continue some of the texture through, and the whole thing looks pretty good. Even looking underneath the body, look at that. This is all sealed in under here with the slopes that are used inside. You don't really see that much from the side, just a little hint of the black, but from underneath. So if you want to take a picture of the player character looking up at this, you can get some impressive looks. And also if you have this on a high shelf, then you're not seeing a whole lot of undersides of plates and such. And just ultimately, this really does, I said, look good from all angles. All angles are camera friendly, and I truly meant that, all angles. This is Aloy, the main protagonist or player character of this solo or single player game. And I think this is a pretty fantastic minifigure of her with a brand new dual molded hairpiece with a little ring there that represents what's called a focus. It's a little holographic projection that comes out from the earpiece there. Again, I haven't played the game myself, but I've watched it being played and I've looked at it, and I think that LEGO has done better than they could be asked reasonably to do by dual molding in that trans light blue little halo right there. It also came up with a new color for a bow to represent well, I mean, it's a standard design, you know, it's not a compound bow, so it's not really what they've used most for her box art and hero art and such, but there's so much detail with this figure, with the prints on both arms, really good printing. It's different, of course, and really good printing all throughout. I think they did an especially good job with the freckles. LEGO has done kind of terrible at some points in its past trying to suggest freckles, and this one I think finally gets it right. In her left hand, on our right, is a spear, which they tried to build up as much as reasonably possible with just existing pieces. I think that's a very, very good attempt with all the colors on it. I wish that the bow could have been better, but as you see, there is an alternate face for her as well. Lots of great printing around the back. This is one case where I am not mad at all at the existence of the waist lines. I feel like sometimes LEGO puts in waist lines that are just not needed, but here it totally works for the character. The character in game has a very narrow waist that tends to be tied up very tightly with clothing, and then clothing above and below tends to be a little bit more loose fitting, and this really captures that without going to any extreme with it. The number of colors printed on there is fantastic. Level of detail is really good. I think the hip piece is missing just a little bit of fidelity towards the top of it. You know, the alignment wasn't perfect, but overall I think this is just a fantastic figure. I might have gone for brown for the main color for the legs instead of the tan. There's a lot more detail that ought to be shown there. I'm fine with it not being included, but I think brown would have been a better average color. However, they would have had to take the tan straight down into that rather than, I think dark tan would have worked better. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it could have gotten too much better than this, but just overall, an excellent attempt to capture a very unique and recognizable character in LEGO form with LEGO special dimensions and proportions and everything, while still meeting their safety standards, their durability standards and everything, needing to have a little bit more bulk with the hair and trying to use existing pieces as much as possible. These are the set's leftover pieces, including some nice colors like the green colored hollow stud there and also the red feather piece. These here are the alternate eyepieces for the watcher. And the sticker sheet, well, folks who hate stickers are not going to like seeing this, but I think the stickers are appropriate. They easily could have included more, and they didn't. I feel like this is an exercise in restraint by the graphic designer or designers, and I think that the ones that are included are appropriate, but also easy to leave off for folks who absolutely hate them, and it won't impact the look of the model too much. I very strongly recommend putting the ones around the saucer shape head circumference, the outer edge of it. Price and value. Again, I paid $80, 80, for this set, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Full stop. No complaints. Feel like I got my money's worth here. It's just good. Again, proportions are not perfect on this, but they're good. The whole presentation is really nice. And you know what I like about this set most of all? The fact that when it was released, it just made a whole lot of people happy, including folks like myself who've never played the game, who don't have a PlayStation, didn't know what they're looking at here at all. It's the type of thing that is just so good on its own, in spite of it being unfamiliar. It's recognizably unfamiliar. Like, okay, I see what they're going for here. I see what they're doing. And I like it. You know, Nowadays, there are just so many things that that are easy to complain about. They're easy to pick apart. And it's just really nice when everything comes together well, you know? Something like the Shuttle Discovery set, or the Porsche 911 Creator Expert set, or the smaller, most recent Batman tumbler. This is another one of those where it's just good. It's not like, oh my, you know, kind of thing. It's just, yes, yeah, I like that. I want that, you know. It has had or it did have a unifying effect, a calming effect, I felt, on the Lego fan community. It was just beautiful to see, and that's because of the work of the designers here. Just did a really good job, made a whole lot of really good decisions. Like, this base totally makes it. This is great, but the base, just chef's kiss right there, you know? I could go back and forth looking at pictures from wikis and, you know, screenshots from the game and concept art and say, well, technically this should be, and the angle of this, you know, should have knees. I don't feel the need, because I just like so much of what is here anyway. Especially having built it. There's nothing too crazy in how it's built, but there are some basic surprises along the way, I think. It's just daggone good. And I'm fine with the price, even though it's a 2022 licensed set. One thing else that I could have asked for, because of the seriousness of this as a licensed thing, and a presentation of a specific item on kind of a collector base, is a little plaque, you know, a little printed tile or something. Could have had even a sticker if they needed that to keep the price down, but again, it's not a must, just would have been an option to make it better. Otherwise, I'm good. So that's that. Just a good Lego set at a reasonable price that did make, not just can make, but did make a lot of people happy for at least a little while. When it first came out, it was a total surprise. You know, they managed to keep it a complete secret, which was fantastic. So there wasn't a month of the rumor mill churning of manufactured content, just driving the thing into the ground. It just came out of nowhere, like the red Creator Expert truck. Nobody saw it coming, and it just dropped, and it was just great. Perfect. I like that so much, and I'm going to remember that day and cherish it. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.